Welcome back to the Nova Show, Real Estate Records. I am here today with Shara Owens. I'll be your host for today, Karla Rivera. And honestly, I'm so excited to be talking with you today, Shara. You're a rising force in real estate and a proud military spouse who understands the unique journey of finding a home that really fits families' needs. Shara's firsthand experience with military life fuels her passion for helping families not only secure a home, but a foundation that truly supports their lifestyle and future goals. With her dedication to making every dollar count and her deep understanding of the challenges military families face, Shara is here to share her insights on turning a house into a home no matter where life may take you. So be ready to get inspired, you guys, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for the introduction. Oh my gosh, what a great and formal introduction. I love the sound of all of that. And sometimes it's hard to believe that, wow, that's all true.
Yes, that is you.
Yes.
No, well, and I know I've had the opportunity to get to know you a little bit, but I feel like everyone will be so thrilled to know you better and how you can help them and connect with them. So I know, the highlight, especially, and we can talk about this or not, but we are on election day, so it's a big day today.
Today is election day.
Yes, and so I'm in the flow of things, and you are a military spouse, but also such a professional real estate. You've risen quite quickly. We met at an event for sisterhood,
and it was the importance of elections on the real estate market. So that was actually really funny that's where we got to connect.
Absolutely. So with that, I'd love for you to tell us just a little bit about how your personal experience does play a role in the way you help families, whether or not they're a military family. I'm sure it plays a role.
So we came out to Utah for an assignment here at Hill Air Force Base. And as a result of that, so many military families are either moving here or leaving here, and being able to just be that guidance or representative in my community. As a spouse, it's a very unique environment to be moving from place to place, and there's a lot of terminology or specifics when you're really in kind of the deepness of it all, into the trenches, I guess, for lack of better words. And when you take a step back and you see somebody else going through their experience with either their really young family or a blended family, whatever it may be, okay, I can help here or I can help there, and just being able to position yourself at the right time for the right family. There's a lot of customization that kind of comes along with it.
I bet, and relocations and things like that.
Yes, so, relocations are big.
I know you yourself, not just coming to Utah, but you've had to relocate a few times, right? So, I mean, this, I think, is such a great part of who you are. What are some of the places you've lived in?
So originally we're from North Carolina, my husband and I. Well, I'm born and raised in North Carolina. And when we got married, we went overseas to Japan, and we spent a few years in Japan, and we were able to see like the northern environment out there, and the culture. The Japanese people are very dedicated to their beliefs and their systems and their way of life, but they're also very open-minded in terms of tourism and showing the world kind of their way of living. So that was awesome. We went to Italy after that. I had both of my girls in Italy.
Wow. And what a change in culture.
Yeah.
From here, Japan, Italy.
Yeah, you kind of get these culture shocks from each place, and you think, when we got Utah after Italy, it was Japan, then Italy, and then Utah. I thought, I know America. I'll be good once we get to Utah. But Utah is its own little bubble.
Oh, yeah.
And it's its
own
little...
especially in comparison to North Carolina.
Yeah, it's
very different culture.
We're very coastal in North Carolina. Well, the town that I'm from, very coastal, a little bit laid back. But there's also similarities to you. And I think that's kind of the advantage or the benefit of traveling, is you're forced to see the difference, but also what makes it the same.
Yeah,
And the
like finding
similarity.
those
Yeah,
similarities.
you find both balances, and I think it kind of brings it all together for your experience or how you choose to move forward in, yeah, that environment.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was kind of that turning point where you said, I'm going to go for real estate?
So when we moved to Utah, I wanted something I could take with me wherever I went. And maybe I might be guilty of watching an episode or two of Selling Sunset.
That inspired.
Yes, it was a blend of inspirations and needs, really. So I just threw myself out there. I said, let me take this course. It took me forever to finish my course. I'm really bad sometimes when it comes to like and just leaving things for the last minute. So at the very last minute, I was thinking, this is going to expire. Am I going to finish this and actually commit? So I did, to not waste that 500 or whatever it was, $600 for the schooling. And then I figured it out. You can actually do it for free.
I know you can do it for free.
You can do it for free. You can
not
become
that
a realtor
real
for
estate
free.
is free. Like you have to get the license
the
and
hours.
continue your education every year.
Everything else is not free. But that portion can be if you get creative. And yeah, and I got my license in 2021, and from there,
oh wow, right at the peak of this market.
Yes, where everything kind of boomed and exploded. But every realtor that is active right now and really in their market understands that we're nowhere near where we were with sales in 2021. So this market has been even tougher, than my first year, even my second year, learning about.
Well, and what are some of the difficulties that you're finding yourself face?
Yeah, I think this year there's a number of things. One of the biggest ones was battling interest rates, and then
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah, I think that people really took a step back, and they didn't understand maybe financial reasons. Cost of living is really high right now, and everyone is struggling. So there's this pause, or you can definitely feel this sense of there's not an urgency to just spend money.
I wonder if, and I have heard this, like having it be an election year, people also were like, let's see what happens.
Yes.
And having that, whether it's true or not, that the elections will have an effect, right?
Yes.
It's like, oh, okay, well, now we're here. Today is election day. And what do you foresee will happen?
I think, because I read that too. And then based off historical events or past elections, sales always kind of slow down the year of, if not 6 months right before an election. And then the year after, they go back up, whether it's a Republican coming into office or whether it's a Democrat stepping into office. There is this pause, and then there's this momentum, sort of.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. The political climate right now is very scary. People feel national security issues are very personal. I mean, to me, they are. So, yeah, whether you're left or right, it's something that it makes sense.
Something to consider, for sure.
Yes, you have to consider.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, and for me, I see it as a pivotal moment regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, if it's Democratic or Republican, either way, it will have an effect. And come January, we can use that to help clients build even more. So what are some things you have done? I know maybe what the military families face are different, so we can talk about that as well, right? As far as what those challenges are, what are some custom ways that you've been able to help families find the right home, whether it's here in Utah or getting them out of a home so they can relocate, and in comparison to I think non-military families.
The biggest thing right now with families I'm helping, whether it's military or whether it's first-time home buyers, is just being able to give them a very transparent understanding of what is happening within our market currently.
I love that.
For the
just
past
educating
this is where we're at, and this is how you can position yourself, and that you actually have a number of options. You can position yourself here, here, and what works for your family. People have to really assess, take each consideration, and then decide. But to be able to make a decision blindly is never good, or I never suggest it to anybody. So yeah, that's all that I've really taken upon myself for this past year, is just being able to educate myself so that when it comes time to helping that first time home buyer or military family moving in out of Utah, is letting them know, not sugarcoating things, having your facts, knowing your numbers, seeing how the market is kind of playing out, and being really honest. Yeah, honesty, I feel like, is the biggest thing right now. Yeah.
I love that. Well, and there's such a high value for that, right? Because personally, I would rather hear some information that is true versus being not told the truth, and then I have this expectation that's unrealistic.
Yeah.
So especially in a time where it's uncertain still for what will happen, or if I was a first time home buyer and things like that, I feel like it's even more of a like nerve-wracking decision.
Yeah, I agree, because ultimately it might not be right for somebody to buy, or it might not make sense for somebody to necessarily sell right now. And letting my clients know, I'm here to support whichever decision you make. I'm not here forcing you to buy a house, sell a house, because quite frankly, it might not be the right time for you to do that. And so being able to have that honesty, or know that they can come to me and I'm not going to.
So you're still willing to
sway them for my benefit. It's on the contrary. It's the complete opposite. I don't want to I don't want a liability on my hands. And as if you are a good realtor or have any bit of an experience in real estate, you understand liabilities, and that at the end of the day, you don't want any on you or your back.
I agree. Well, and I know you take that so serious. Even in the previous conversations we've had, you've told me that you're passionate about bringing education to people, and you're going to be partnering up soon to help provide
seminars.
And finding the right lenders that can, specifically help people depending on their needs. And that's so amazing that you're taking the time to do that. It really shows that you care enough to educate, first yourself, but also bring it to the public, and then let them, like you said, make their decisions. Educated decision, not just
not a force.
It feels or it doesn't feel.
Realtors really are acting as guides, and they should be taking all of their ethics to heart, and really applying that in their business, because if not, within the media, there's already so much hate on realtors. I mean, every single, I feel like, week or month, there's a new article coming out, either with lawsuits or kind of really attacking the real estate community, almost, it feels like. And in any industry, there's going to be a couple of bad apples, or the kind of bad bunch
sets the tone for
that
everyone.
Ruins it for the majority. But at the end of the day, when we can be looked at as cheesy used car salesmen, and I think there are realtors out there that maybe are really salesy, or maybe even forcing. And thankfully, there are these sets of guidelines to kind of correct those bad apples. Yeah.
No, I agree. Well, and you brought up community. So we've talked, about offering, you're going to partner with lenders to offer those classes, but how else do you feel, especially being in a military family, that what role, what is it that you're playing in the community, whether it's as an influencer, you're a mother, you're a spouse, but you're also a leader in the industry, because people are watching you, right? Okay, who is Shara Owens? What are you doing in the community, and how are you able to rise up in such a competitive market?
It's been really hard. You have to constantly come back to the drawing board. I feel like every 3 to 4 months, look at what have I done, look at your goals, and then maybe even scratch off some things and recalibrate a little bit. There's a lot of recalibration that I feel is taking place, and sometimes I feel like just when I have it kind of down, happens economically speaking, a pandemic happens, whatever
Sure.
it may be, and you have to go back to that drawing board and be able to have flexibility, have creativity. Support is a massive one. If it wasn't for my family, for my husband, my children, I feel like I that has a big part or element as well. It's like this, you know, trifecta sort of thing
Yeah.
happening, that without one or the other, it doesn't really work.
Well, and I love hearing that. It sounds like you have whether it's intentional or not, you have a good strategy in place to go back and revisit. Hey, what are my goals?
Yes.
And do they even make sense for what is
Right.
happening that I can't control?
Mhm.
And then your willingness to shift that is really cool. I think a lot of people can learn from that because it's hard to make changes.
Yes, it's hard to say, you know what, that was an awful idea. I actually take it back. I don't know what I was thinking.
Or it just doesn't work for what's happening now.
Yeah,
Like,
you have to be able to have accountability, and to like take constructive criticism, and just constantly be able to reinvent
absolutely.
your way, your systems, whatever it may be.
Well, I like that. And I know you are passionate about staying informed and educated. I mean, I literally met you at an education.
I know,
event.
yes. That was so much fun too,
very
actually.
True for you.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
Well, I love this. Okay. I wanna pick your brain a little bit, just as like for the public, when it comes to advice based on your experience, what is the advice that you're giving your clients right now? You spoke about it a little bit, just like really finding the right time for them versus trying to make something happen. But can you maybe talk to me a little more on that and like the language of those conversations?
Yeah. I think when it comes to any guidance, especially as a realtor, my biggest advice that is taking place is just my advocacy for home ownership and how home ownership changed our life, for my family, for my husband and I, for my daughters. Stepping into home ownership finally, it happened in 2019 for us. We were renting.
And I know there was a little bit of convincing that had to
a
go
lot
down,
of
right?
convincing, yes,
for this to happen.
it is, there's investing and then there's gambling, and so I think my husband felt a bit of it was a gamble because a number of reasons. We were just moving to Utah. I wasn't even in real estate yet. I was doing cosmetology. I was doing makeup. And he didn't know how I would be able to emerge or set myself up. And he's the type that he doesn't, count his chickens, or what does he say? Count your eggs or something like that. I don't know. And so, I had to convince him, but I did the convincing through the numbers, and that's where I started realizing, like you can kind of play around with these numbers. And looking back at it, 5 years later, I'm so happy. We should have bought a bigger home, or we should have bought two homes if we could.
And I'm sure now he's looking at it saying, "Thank God!
Oh my gosh,
that we pulled the trigger."
Every time our property taxes come, or you get those letters in the mail about your equity, all of that, he's like, "It's my letter, it's my check," big check.
Absolutely. Well, and how cool that you can really speak to it from a personal experience on so many levels.
So true.
Like, yes, I'm a homeowner. I went through the process myself in your shoes, but also I was relocated. Like, talk about taking a leap of faith multiple times, but to come into home ownership.
It was like leap after leap. I felt like that.
And then, okay, I'm going to go ahead and like become a realtor.
Yeah, and then let's do another big leap on top of
Yes.
that. But I do feel very, very deeply connected to the VA, the loan that helped us step into home ownership as well.
Tell me a little bit more about that, because personally, I think it's one of the greatest opportunities.
Yes.
But I think not enough people know really how the process works.
Yes.
So I'd love to hear about it from your perspective.
Yeah. So the VA was, you don't need a credit score like you do with your FHA loans or your conventional loans. They do look up your credit score, but there isn't like a minimum. So that's a big perk on it. If you are 100% like a veteran on disability, 100%, you don't have to pay. PMI or your mortgage insurance. There is no, or no, I'm sorry. I believe it might be PMI, but property taxes. You don't pay property taxes if you have 100% disability. And that's like, depending where you
Well,
live.
we have so many veterans.
Oh my God.
It's like
an insane amount.
Yeah.
And
would really benefit from
we were overseas for almost 8 years. We rented for 8 years.
Wow.
And come to find out, there were people in Italy, a couple of spouses that were realtors. And I think this was like, these were, when like you have little seeds in your life being planted and you don't really realize it till you like speak on it. And you're like, oh wait, that was a seed. Yeah. I met a spouse who, we were kind of leaving Italy and she was coming in. She bought a house in Italy and 99% of the families overseas, they don't buy, they just rent.
Because you don't even, it's temporary.
Yeah, it's temporary. It's a different country. There's so many.
But 8 years, I mean, that's quite a time.
Yeah.
So how much of that was Japan versus Italy? Or
Italy was 4 years, and then Japan was another 3 to 4 years as well. So
I mean, that could have been
imagine
for sure.
8 years times. I mean, I don't know how much we were at, like at least $2,000 in rent, up to $1,500, up to $2,000, depending the year. But I want to say it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars of rent that we will never see again.
Was about 60,000.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Multiply that. I can't do math.
Well, but now we know.
Yes.
If you known then, you probably would have.
So I did remember looking at the VA and thinking maybe we can buy while we're overseas and do like an investment property thing. But with the VA, it does have to be a primary residence. So there are a couple of terms to it, and I think that was a big kicker. I was like, I'm ready to go. Like, I need to.
Well, and what's the minimum time frame that a person has to live in their home before they could sell and requalify for the program?
I believe it's 2 years, but you can rent out rooms in your house. Like if you're living in your home, a lot of airmen will maybe buy their house, and if they have a couple of extra rooms available, they do rent. They can rent those out.
How nice.
So that's
especially in a market like today, where people are collaborating a lot. I see multifamily units, and this is a great option for
exactly. And I do know that if you have your VA and you want to, let's say you're moving to another state and you want to use your VA there, but maybe keep your house, you can convert that loan. Talk to your lender and get it converted to maybe a conventional or FHA,
and then utilize
to be able to rent it out, so it's not your primary, and then you shift it to you. So there's a lot of different and creative ways to build a portfolio
to take full advantage and benefit from this.
1,000%.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I feel like already so many people are going to want to know more about this. So I'm excited for you to be able to kind of be that bridge, really. It's like, number one, you've lived it. You experienced that you are a military spouse, but you're also this woman, this mother, living your day-to-day, and you're able and willing to guide people through the process.
Exactly.
And I know just from talking to you before, even if there's something you don't know, I know 100% you're willing to go out and find the information and resources.
Yes, you have to use your pipeline. You have to be able to say, you know what, I don't know that, and let me talk to an expert in that specific field, whatever it may be. Exactly, because at the end of the day, I'm not an electrician, I'm not a plumber, I'm not a lender, I'm not title, and there's so many pockets in real estate. And that's why, creating these relationships, it benefits all of us. It really does.
Right. Well, and that's really what it's all about in the end of the day, which kind of brings me to the next thing. I've been curious, and I don't even know why I didn't ask you the first time we were talking, but maybe it was meant to be heard today for the first. But speaking of relationships, do you have a memory of like a family you did help or an individual, whether it was purchasing or selling, that really stood out? And it doesn't matter, right? Even if they got to the finish line or it was a consultation, whatever. I know there's stories for days in this industry.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Well, like great, bad, all in between,
Yes.
and hilarious.
I know, I'm like trying to think which one can I talk about.
You're like, I mean, take your time. But
I think
is there one that like is significant and really has stood out to you?
I think the significant ones are always families who are leaving, and specifically like PCSing, which PCSing is if you're in the military, you know, it's permanent change of, they love acronyms and acronym and
the ones that are not in the military, you're like, huh?
What is that? You're just
hey, that's how people feel about real estate. You're like, can I get that PR?
Exactly. Yeah. You're C2C, don't worry. But yeah, but permanent change of station, and in each time it's, you know, they're wanting to sell or they're ready to sell. For them, it makes sense. And when those offers start coming in and then closing coming in and everything is just falling together, and they see that they can kind of walk away knowing that the home ownership process for them benefited them through and through, and they're able to, you know, either take this check overseas and buy a house there if that's something that interests them, or maybe they're retiring and they're just going to buy a house, their forever home kind of. But just like that validation that, oh yeah, this was what was best for me. And I think just coming back to
it's truly an investment.
Yes. Yeah. It's a free market, you know, or this is still something that I feel like it is the American dream, or that is still, some people may disagree with that statement, but I see it time and time again where, oh yeah, that is that's why it became the American dream, and it still is the American dream to be able to say, I'm a homeowner, or I've experienced home ownership, and this is what it did for me, and etc. I mean, really.
Well, and I know, like, you and I specifically can relate on this, as many others will, I'm sure, but it's not only the American dream for people from here, but like being it from an immigrant family, whether it's first generation, fifth, sixth, it is even more impactful to know, like, hey, we are a part of this.
Yes,
and so how cool that you also bring that aspect into it.
Yeah, and I think you're so right saying, you know, this is the American dream. It's not just in America. It's for
all over the world.
Anybody who dreams of coming to this amazing country. My parents did the exact same thing. They sacrificed their entire lives to be able to say that, and they did. They achieved that success for them. And being able to live that and experience that, gosh, what an amazing thing it was for my sisters, for myself, and
what a privilege, right?
Yes,
like,
exactly.
It really is a privilege to be able to own real estate, to have a property, because this is an asset that can go with you for time and time again.
Right.
It is a legacy, right? When we're gone, what do we leave behind?
So true.
Outside of how we make others feel, because that's so important.
Yes.
You have something to your name that you can pass on to your children, or
generational,
your family. It's a generational wealth, which is beautiful.
Yes, 1,000%.
And it is a safe risk, right? Like, there's calculations, there's numbers, and we can track it all.
Real estate is, I mean, it's kind of boring. Once I got into it,
I was now that I think about
it, because it does have safe measures to it, and once you're able to assess these numbers and analyze markets and see, you know, working with investors has also been a lot of fun for me, and ultimately makes me realize that's the end game, is diversifying, building a portfolio, and maybe it's not just in America. I definitely want to take some of my money to Central America, and it's ironic how it's like they wanted to come here, but now I want to go back there. Yeah, or I just,
or just a vacation home.
Exactly.
But how amazing, because you're helping feed multiple economies, right? At that point, providing more jobs and
so true,
fluidity of income, not just here.
Yes, exactly.
Without taking away from here, which is really amazing.
Exactly.
But I didn't even know you worked with investments as well. Of course
Yes.
you have. I should have
Yes.
known
Yes.
this. So
Well, and I think
you're
that
a woman of all
Yes.
trades.
When I came into real estate, I wanted it to be very clear. Like, I will sell you $1 million house, which I have, and I'll sell you $100,000 property. Like, there's no in between. I love the saying. It goes, master of all trades, or jack of all trades,
Yeah.
master of none. But that's what everybody says, right? But
Yes.
do you know that the whole saying, they don't say the other part?
Oh, what is it?
Yeah, so the whole saying actually goes, jack of all trades, master of none, still better than one.
Ooh.
So
I have not heard
it's
that.
not
I love
about
that.
mastering one trade, or mastering one trade doesn't necessarily make you better than a jack of all trades.
How cool. And honestly, though, are we ever truly a master, or are we always a student,
we're
learning
yes,
and adapting,
exactly.
evolving?
We're extremely complicated beings. Like,
Well, and if we're not learning new things, I feel like
you're
as
robots.
humans, we get bored, and
Yes.
that's when we make dumb decisions.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm so bored.
2020, look at the world. Everybody was bored and making like dumb decisions.
Yes,
I
I mean, actually, though, and it's been reported. Like,
Yeah.
people spent more money during a moment of chaos than we have in the history.
Literally.
So
all that free money, where is it?
When we should have, I mean, why didn't we invest it? Or, like, now
Yes.
thinking back, it's always,
Yes.
and I hear this saying a lot. I'm sure you've heard it a million times, but it's so true. The best time to engage in real estate or purchase real estate 5 years ago. The next best time right now. Why? Because interest rates are fluctuating, market trends, economy, all those things, but what is forever? The property.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's not about timing the market. People
Yeah.
always want to say, I'm waiting for the crash. I want, interest rates this, interest rates that.
Well, we've been waiting for the crash for
Yes,
how long? Since
exactly.
2008 again.
Exactly. Well, but people don't understand the crash that everybody is waiting for. That crash is happening right now.
Yes. Just at a
at a more
pace.
modular like experience. It's not insanity. You can actually go in
this time.
Yeah,
Yes,
you can buy a home right now and actually negotiate. You can get a lower price if it's something reasonable. You're not competing against 20 other offers that are, half of them all cash offers and over. I mean, that's madness. That is madness.
It was not tangible for sure for many. And also, I think at the end of the day, we all learned that a slow increase or decrease is just healthier.
Yeah. You want a balanced market.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which I personally think we're in right now.
Yeah,
I'm seeing a few multiple offers, but I'm also seeing homes sit for months, which
that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yes. When I started getting involved, it was what was happening.
Yes.
So I am actually more excited than not for what is to come.
For this next year next few years. I agree.
Next 5 even.
Yes.
But that, brings me to another question, which is, you are a rising star in our industry. You have so many areas of knowledge, and you're able to plug into so many outlets, right? Like whether it's investments or helping with VA loans or just the traditional way of purchasing and selling real estate. What would you say is your next move in your goals, right? For your business, whether it's from here to the end of the year or for 2025.
Okay. So my goals for like the foreseeable year is really driving home on education, doing seminars, whether it's a quarterly seminar for spouses on base, for families on base, and just being part of my community. My community is so important. How lucky
for them to have someone so well versed and experienced to bring that to them.
Yeah, I think that's really just all I can do is continue to pour that education and that transparency, so that whoever it may be that is ready or needing guidance, that it's just I'm there, like, hit the ground running. Time is money. Like, I feel like time is one of our greatest assets at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't you can't really put a dollar figure on it. It's priceless to me.
It's the biggest gift.
Yes,
gift.
exactly.
Absolutely.
You don't, once it's gone, you don't get it back. So for me, it's just really being able to manage my time and maximize my days, my weeks, my months, so that it benefits and becomes passive eventually for me, where I can, I can step out of this kind of game, or it is a hustle. I mean,
Yeah,
real
absolutely.
estate, it's so competitive, and you have to be able to be in it long term. Like, good things take time, and
Absolutely.
that's,
Well,
I think,
and what I mean, I can see many reasons why you are set apart from the majority of
so
agents.
sweet.
But
Thank you.
what would you say is the one thing that does set you apart?
I think my experience. I think
Yeah.
my story, and just like my blood. And I know that's like so cheesy,
No, I get that, because you're talking experience as a whole.
Yes, it's
How
just a whole
cool.
package.
Yes.
And
You've been, you've traveled, you're
Yes.
cultured, you're bilingual.
yes,
Yes. In the trenches.
Yes.
As a military wife, but
yes,
also
I'm
starting
able.
new business.
Yes, I'm willing. I'm really excited. I have the time. I have the support. I have systems in place. Like, it's just it's if you would have told me what it takes 5 years ago, before all of this started for me, I probably wouldn't have.
You're like, I'm going to take a hard pass on that.
Yes, because it has
Outside of
become
coffee.
my life. It has
Yeah.
completely like consumed me. Like, I mean, you
But
sleep over
you're
it.
glowing. Like, you are actually fully in it.
I love
and
that.
It
Yeah.
seems like you do enjoy it.
Yes, I wouldn't have it any other way.
I love that. Okay, so let's go back in time. And here is Shara Owens in Japan or in Italy, right? Like, no
Ooh.
idea that you're gonna even be in real estate at this
Okay.
point, right? Like, it was not even a thought of yours.
Yes.
But what would be an advice you would give to yourself?
Oh my gosh, I love this, because I was just looking at my pictures from like 2020, from even Italy, and I think I went as far back to look at like puppy pictures of my dog, because we bought him in Japan. And just
gosh, how cool.
but looking at pictures of your face like 10 years ago,
And
like,
you
you're like,
evolve. Absolutely.
who is that person? Or why was I wearing that?
The browser, the
makeup.
What was I thinking?
Yeah, everything is so distinct. Like, trends, makeup. We all know
and
the
they come
eyebrows.
back. That's the best
Yeah,
part. Like,
yeah.
seeing my teen now wearing things I wore in high school, I'm like, I should have kept all that.
So, okay, that's good advice, because my oldest is kind of going into that stage.
Oh,
so,
how fun.
yeah.
Okay,
so advice. Oh my gosh, advice. I should have thought of this. Or I think maybe I was like, what was I saying to myself? I was looking at the pictures. And I think I just kept thinking, like, remember who you are, Simba. I just was such a little pup, and I was such a little like cub. Like, I saw, this, I don't know, the cheeks, and like it was like baby me, and just seeing her, it's like, remember who you are, like, because no matter what path you kind of take, you have to stay true to yourself through that course, wherever.
Well, regardless of what you're doing, I know you've built businesses before, like you did your
my bridal,
and all. But that's so true. When you come back home and know who you are in your core, it really helps the flow of anything.
Yes, and just in the midst of it all, like, we can become so attached, and even like begin identifying with our wins, with our losses. And I don't suggest anybody do that with either of the two, because at the end of the day, your wins, if you identify with that, you might lose yourself in those wins. If you identify with your losses, you lose yourself in those losses. Like, you have to stay true through the good, through the bad, because they're almost like life's tests for your next mission, or your next kind of like goal. I don't know.
No, I love this perspective because it's absolutely important to remember, even when you're winning,
Yes.
like not to forget the strategies, the rituals, whatever it is you did to get you to that point, or vice versa.
Exactly.
When you're not having those wins, it's like, hey, this is a work in progress.
Yes.
We're treading, but we're still moving forward.
Exactly.
It's the oldest tale of all, right? The hare is, the hare and the tortoise.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're moving forward.
Right.
Regardless.
Then
and we're
wins
still
the race. Yeah, that's so true. So people see that, or they realize that for their losses, but they don't apply it for their wins necessarily.
Like, oh, we still have to tread.
Yes. Or like,
even though we're winning.
Yeah, you're winning. You might be so lost in your win that you don't see something kind of, or like your peripheral view is now.
Or like, hey, how did we get here?
Exactly.
Are we reconnecting with those people or those?
Yeah. I mean, it's like when
tools?
somebody wins the lottery, like how many times have people that win the lottery like completely lose it all or something?
That's a good point. Well, and you're like, how?
But you think like this was such a big win.
Yeah.
This win should have taken care of all of the other, or like he should have never lost again, essentially. But that's not how it works. Like there's like this yin and yang to winning and to losing, and
Well, I love this, and it really does all come together because as long as we're staying true, and remembering our
who
purpose,
we are,
which everyone's purpose is unique, right? Like you and I might be aligned through our paths, but our soul purpose is still going to be different,
right?
Different,
exactly.
So I love this. This is actually such epic advice you can give to everyone, not even in real estate, but in life.
This is can follow you anywhere you go, and that's why I see that, or I hear this advice, and when people ask me like, how do you get through it? Or I'm like, I don't, like, I'm constantly trying to remember what my purpose is or what fulfills me, what actually speaks to me.
Well, and that can change, I'm sure.
That's true.
And giving yourself that permission is also
I love that. Giving that space, or creating a space.
Like, hey, today this works, maybe tomorrow it changes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I do love that. Yeah, it's not always going to be the same
formula.
Well,
it sounds like you're already applying that, though, because you even spoke to it. Like, hey, I do reconnect and reevaluate what is it I'm doing versus what do I need to be doing, and then come visit it again. Yeah. So
I feel like you guys do that too, though, here, where it's you're setting certain standards and you're looking at your environment and asking yourself, how can we evolve, or how should we be evolving for ourselves and what speaks to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
I think that's, for me, what it is, though, as a whole. Like, life is about that.
Right.
Making connections, growing, and helping people grow.
100%. Yeah, so. That's all you can do. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I love this. Thank you so much. This is incredible. You know me. I want to talk to you for 15
We'll talk for hours.
And we will, because we have more coming. But thank you. I think that, honestly, the public, future clients, and your peers will be so blessed to be able to connect with you and learn and collaborate in all the ways. So,
that's
what please share with us where people can contact you, your social media, your email, phone number, all of it.
So my handle on social media right now, I actually just changed it. It's Your Real Estate Bestie. But you can but you can just look up Shara Owens, and all my stuff pops up, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, all of the handles. And I just kind of partnered up at, down in Holiday, and really it's just such a force of brokers and minds being able to take on the real estate game. It's been so much fun.
Yeah. Putting yourself with the right people. I love that. Do you want to share your phone number?
Phone number, text, call, either way. It's 910-777-8852. It's still North Carolina area code.
Staying with your home.
I remember who you are, Simba.
That's the best. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yay!
We hope
hope you enjoyed this episode. Please rate us, like us, and share this podcast with our real estate community. The Nova Show Real Estate Record, sharing raw stories of real estate failures, lessons, wins, and successes. This is all from Novation Title, bringing a different experience into your world so that we can all uplift each other. Until next time.